mentioned in passing the effect of like brain injury, such as chemotherapy or like Chemo Brain,
Right.
and how this can have an effect on that.
Right.
Is it similar to the kind of training that you do on older adults in like progressive aging? And do you see results better immediately after chemotherapy than like 5 years out or 10 years out?
Right. That's a good question. Actually, when you poison the brain, which is what chemotherapy does for a while, you have very widespread losses. And the brain is becoming noisier, and it's having problems with resolving signal. And it does this. It makes the same adjustment over and over again when it has problems with signal in noise conditions. It just changes its time constants. So if you just look in such individuals, you see that it's made these natural adjustments. And so it's representing information less completely again. And so it turns out that that's something that you can almost always positively manipulate. Now, in order to speed it up again, you have to assure that you're maintaining accuracy. So the training has to be designed to assure that in whatever domain you're operating in, you're improving accuracy at speed. But when you do that, you see the same kind of memory and cognitive improvements that you see in a kid population or in a senior population, right? Mm-hmm. Now, because the injury is relatively diffuse, the losses are relatively widespread. So there's a lot to train to really be back to tip-top shape again. But we found that we can pretty much recover a person that has substantial losses from Chemo Brain. This is research being done at UCSF.
Okay.
And again, there's big quality of life benefits from it.
Yeah.
So I think this is going to be part of the routine treatment of people that have these kind of brain injuries. We see the same thing in people that have infected brains. Lyme disease would be an example where brain infection can occur. West Nile virus is another. AIDS is probably most common. Ultimately, AIDS dementia comes from the infection of the AIDS virus in the brain. Again, the same thing. We can see substantial improvements of performance in such brains. Again, because there's very diffuse damage. And we see the same thing in individuals from Iraq that have been in the presence of IED explosions, which actually create bubbles in the brain. It creates diffuse damage. So there are common ways that you'd approach these conditions. There are also some things that are special about each one of them.
Okay, thank you.